Welcome to the Ryan Rush Show. This is our first ever episode. So today we're going to be kind of talking with Brad a little bit, kind of picking his brain, taking out all the wisdom he's got about real estate and property management. And could you give us like a brief little 60-second synopsis of kind of your background and what exactly you do for all the viewers?
Definitely. Well, first, Ryan, thanks for having me on. I know it's the first one, so we'll see, hopefully see how this
Yeah.
goes. But yeah, so my name is Brad Holtzman, and I am the co-founder and co-owner of Green Oak Property Management out here in Los Angeles. And my background, I got my real estate license in 2016. I moved out from North Suburbs Chicago in 2008 for the film industry, did that for a while, found myself in the location side, basically real estate for the film industry. And then once I, found my now wife, she wanted someone that was going to be around often, and the film industry is not for that.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting my real estate license, did that for a while, and then 2018, 2019, started working for a property management company, saw the pros and cons to kind of how they do it and the industry, and then kind of realized that there's better ways of doing it, and opened my own company.
That's awesome. So how many properties do you oversee right now? Or are you?
So right now we just opened up our company last year, which of course with
Okay.
COVID, so we're not the standard brick and mortar. We don't have a lot of overhead,
Mhm.
and so right now I think we're around between 15 and 20 properties.
Okay.
Is we're at. We're always talking to other real estate agents, real estate brokers, and landlords to build on those. So we have some in the pipeline as well, but until there's a contract signed, you know they're not clients yet.
Yeah. Okay. So then in terms of if somebody in their 20s wanted to get into your field, what kind of advice could you let them know that you wish you would have known when you were first getting into it?
Definitely. So it's actually good that you even brought that up, because even though we're new, my partner and I, we're young, we're hungry, we're actually looking, and I'm going to bring it up in the next couple of weeks. So if any of your viewers are interested, I'm going to be looking for some interns.
Okay.
And that right there, honestly, is a huge start.
Yeah.
When the way that I got into it, I just started cold calling. I was cold calling property management companies, some, with no property management experience. And I
Okay.
ended up finding the one that I worked for, and worked my way up. But one of two ways: either, get in through an internship program, or you can, try and find someone that's whether friend or family or colleague that owns some property, and you want to be kind of the right-hand man. You'll do it for free, and you'll hustle. Those are kind of the two ins, I would say. You'll evolve. So either you've gone to school and you've got your degree in real estate, and or that you have your license, so the ethics and the laws for California. But a lot of that, to be honest, doesn't teach you the tenant laws, the tenant and landlord laws. And we're in California. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're changing all the time. COVID, I hear people from other states, saying, "Oh, we can evict and this and then." They've got leverage. We kind of have gotten our leverage taken away from us. I don't want to get into politics and all that, but it's a big hurdle that we're structuring and trying to work with, and dealing with the attorneys to really understand everything that's been coming down the pipeline.
Okay.
I know
So
I'm
yeah, so yeah, that was a perfect answer. So for everyone who's listening, you are in LA, right? Or are you in Orange County?
No, so we're in Los Angeles. Our
Okay.
our office, we'll call it again, we're a virtual office. So our office is out of Beverly Hills. I
Okay.
live right outside of Marina Del Rey. So we pretty much do all of LA County.
Mhm.
We wouldn't, until we expand more, we probably wouldn't go to Palmdale or Lancaster. We would do from, let's say, Santa Clarita all the way down to like Redondo, Long Beach,
Okay.
and
All right.
obviously the ocean, and then downtown. So we have a pretty big expansion, and as long as we've got our trusted vendors, and right now it's me as boots on the ground,
Mhm.
we can take care of the property.
So you said you're dealing with some hurdles being in California, you want to elaborate a little bit more on
Yeah,
that?
so right now, the laws that have been enacted are tenants basically, to be honest, don't have to pay rent until June 30th. And June 30th, so June 30th, July 1st, they owe 25% of whatever they have not paid from March. I believe it's to double check, but I believe it's from March 30th of 2020 all the way to July 1st, 2021. So all these tenants that haven't paid, some are paying 25% every month, or they are able to hold all of that and pay 25% of the total by
Wow.
July 1st. So you've got a lot of mom and pop landlords who live off of that money, pay their mortgages, pay the bills, and so on and so forth, and they're not able to. So now you've got the mortgage companies, some are doing forbearance and all that, but at the end of the day, it's kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
So the laws that have come down is, okay, you can't evict for non-payment. So you happen to have a tenant that's, maybe they've been a good tenant, maybe they've had true hard times, and we of course work with them. But there's a lot of people that also kind of take advantage of the system, and maybe they're destroying the property or they're doing this. There's very, very few things to be able to evict someone right now. So that's the true leverage that landlords have had for many a decade.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been stripped away. So that's one of the biggest things right
Yeah.
now that's
That
hurt
seems
to
pretty
navigate
tough.
this thing is a good word.
Yeah. So then would you say right now for someone who is younger and wants to buy their first property, would you say that they should wait until like all the eviction laws and like all these holds on rent because of COVID are over? Or would you say like now is a good time to get in? Or how do you see it?
That's a great question. And I think the answer depends on where they are at. So obviously, right now, everyone talks about mortgages. I'm not a mortgage lender. I'm not a mortgage broker, but as being in real estate, mortgage rates are low. But being that they're low is primary, meaning that's your primary residence. So if you're looking strictly, and there's all these strategies out there that, they can all look into and different things. But at the end of the day, it's always a good time to look for property. If you find a deal, it's going to continue, right?
Yeah.
Even in 2008, yes, right now some of those properties in other states have now just come back to that same level. But we're in Los Angeles. Los Angeles appreciates. Cash flow is a different story, just because,
Yeah.
so we can, but to answer your question, there's always times to find property. If you can find a property or make a deal where you find a vacant property, that's your best bet, right? Whether it's a duplex, a triplex, and it happens to be vacant, or it's from a developer and they just finished building it, that's your best bet, because now, number one, you've got market rent, and you can vet those tenants. That is one of the most important things, is the vetting a tenant as much as you can, meeting them in person multiple times, checking their credit, really vetting them, because then you get to choose who you are letting live there. Versus you're purchasing a property and you're inheriting the tenants. They could have been longtime tenants, and you do your numbers and the cash flow, all that. But at the end of the day, a tenant that's great for the previous landlord may not be great for you, right? The landlord has owned that building for 20 years, even a duplex, we'll call it a building, for 20 years. They've brought those tenants in and they've worked with them and they've given them cuts, and that's why the rents are as low as they are. You're could be inheriting a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So it really depends. If you're at it, like one of the things is we have some clients that are able to purchase a property, going in knowing that they may not get any rent for however long this really lasts for, but they're fine. They can hold it. They could, it's either bought all cash or they could pay the mortgage. They're fine holding it, let's say 2 years, and then going through the eviction process. Not a lot of people that I know can do that, especially, younger age people.
Yeah.
But if you can find a landlord, someone that's all these small landlords that are dealing with what I've just talked about, I mean, I'm in a bunch of groups and I see them like, okay, not all of them are in Los Angeles, of course, Riverside County, Orange County, probably Ventura County, the other counties where they're like, look, I haven't been paid since March. I'm down $25,000, $30,000, even more. Those are the opportunities for young investors that could come in and make it easy for that seller to get rid of the issues.
So you think a lot of landlords are just stressed out, they're kind of over it right now, and they would just sell for the right price just to kind of get it off their hands, just to be like,
yes,
what, I'm done.
Yes, there are a lot of the mom and pop, not the big ones. If you've got an owner that owns, I would say let's use five properties or less that are small. Let's maybe even 10 units. I guess I would say 10 units and less, with 5 properties on their portfolio or less. That's a mom and pop landlord. Okay. Those are the ones to go after and to really, talk to them and say, look, this is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what I could do. I believe that I did my numbers. This is the best deal that's out there right now. The market is high on residential, right? Mm-hmm. We all know that. It's a crazy market. But when it comes to investments, because everything that's going on, and all these tenants either not being able to pay because of COVID, which is legit, or people, playing the game.
Yeah, they're milking it.
There's opportunity out there.
Yeah. Okay. So where would you find? Is there a website or is there any specific spot where you could find small portfolio landlords?
So yeah, there's not. I guess there are. I don't use any. There are, I'm sure, websites out there that you can pay for, and they do all the research for you. I've been told that there's wholesalers and things like that, but a lot of it's boots on the ground. Finding the numbers, dialing. The first true place that I would look up is call a title company. You can either go down to the county recorder's office physically, but with COVID, I don't even know if they're open right now. Yeah. Or call any title company and say, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for all properties within a certain radius that have been owned by the same owners for 15, 20 years or whatever, and they are it's their investment property. And title will the way you know that from title is because where the mailing address is different from the property address, because that's where their taxes go. So that would be, for me, the first place is to call title company. Start with that. That's kind of how you could build your list of being able to cold call. They don't give you the numbers. You got to find that separately. Mm-hmm. But to be able to find these owners in this criteria that you've given. That's kind of that's the first true step. Okay.
So then you kind of, to backtrack a tiny bit, how you're talking about finding the right tenants. Yeah. So and like meeting them as much as possible and all that, just so you really get to know who you're going to have living in your building. So you do property management. Does your company, do you guys do that for a landlord? So if like a landlord's watching this right now and they're interested in maybe you and using your company in the LA area, mm-hmm. do you go and find tenants for them, or would they still have to do all that?
So our company, again, it's Green Oak Property Management. You can check out our website, greenoakpropertymanagement.com. We are in the process of redesigning it, but we're a full service. So what that means is basically from A to Z. So if we take on a client and it's a 3-unit and they have a vacancy, we will right then and there start finding, put up for lease, find the tenant, vet them, do the credit check, all of that. And then we do the transition, which is moving them in. We do a MIMO, move in, move out. So we know what the property looks like already. We move them in, we get them into our software. There's owner portals, tenant portals, so they can pay their rent online. They can put maintenance requests in. And then as we go through and we pay all the bills and deal with all the vendors, our trusted vendors that we've worked with for a while, we don't have any in-house vendors or in-house maintenance. And we've chosen to do that purposefully because we want to be as transparent as possible. Meaning when we get bids, like one of my tenants just put in a maintenance request at the dishwasher. is stopped working. So on something small like that, I'll just go to my go-to vendor. Or if a landlord who's been dealing with, or working with their vendors, right, their maintenance guys, their techs, will gladly continue working with them because no one else knows that property that well.
Okay.
But we usually have, and it depends on each client, let's say $500. So anything over $500, then I will get multiple vendors, multiple bids. I will show them, to the clients and go from there. And then as we continue on, we're doing all the financials. So every month, through the owner portal, the landlords are getting their full financial reports. So they know what has come in, what has gone out, what the books look like, how they're because it's a business, what their business for that property looks like.
Wow. You guys really do everything for the landlord. So
Yeah,
the landlord can just kind of step back and live their life while you run the whole thing for them.
Exactly. Our kind of, I don't know if it's our motto or our business why is really to create freedom, right?
Yeah.
Most landlords, this is not their job, right? It's an investment opportunity. It's an investment portfolio for their retirement. They have what they're really good at is whatever their career is, right?
Yeah, there's
banking or whatever they do.
Yep.
There is so much to not just property management, but to owning a property that our job is to take all that stress, all that away and let them do what they're really good at and let us do what we're really good at. And on a monthly basis to collect that check.
There are a lot of people who want to do the Burr Method, but won't because they don't want to deal with tenants.
So correct. So everyone out there,
you guys are you seem to be the perfect company to come in and just get that relief off their shoulders so that they can truly build a real estate portfolio and get into investing in real estate. And that's like the biggest thing with me and my girlfriend. So we want to start doing the Burr Method and get into that. Yeah. Her biggest thing is I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to be a landlord kind of thing. And like other people obviously think the exact same way she does. They don't want to be a landlord. And, like you could just come in and just completely get that out of the way.
100%. And that's kind of one of our goals. And that's why we are, besides doing this podcast, but have been chatting up is because I'm looking to become that partner with anyone doing the Burr Method or any of the other methods. I mean, even on flips, right? Because the idea of a flip is you sell it to someone else.
Yeah.
If there's a flipper out there or someone that's been doing flips, part of the exit strategy that is just basically a tool in their tool belt is for us to come in. Now, if it's an end user, single family home, it's different. But if they're going to sell it to an investor that just want, they're purchasing the property, but they don't want to be a landlord, but they're turning into a long and holds investor, then that's where we would come in as that partner, that tool in the tool belt to have that transaction smoothly change. So the flipper sells the property and now the new owner, who's now the investor, is working with us right away. And we already know the ins and outs of that property as well.
Okay. What about in terms of Airbnb, people who are doing that instead of like renting, they're just doing Airbnb rental. Do you guys also do that too?
So right now in our early stages, we are not taking that on. Doesn't mean it's off the table. But we are not, to be frank, we're not 100% set up for that. I would like to get into that down the road. So, I mean, if there are people that are listening that, want to reach out, we could definitely talk about it and see what the best way to go about it is, I guess. But at this time, we are not structured to do it. We're building on the long-term investors.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that in the future we won't be.
Yeah. And you were talking about hiring interns earlier. If someone who's watching this wants to be an intern, they might be asking, what type of experience is Brad looking for and all that. So what are you looking for in somebody who would want to be an intern for you?
So for us, like I said, it's the first time I'm even bringing this up. So it's not on Indeed or anything like that. But the first thing is send me an email. My email is brad@greenoakmgmt.com. Send me an email, you can resume, whatever. Honestly, it doesn't have to have experience. And one of the things too is that they have to have school credit. So
Okay.
we'll have to get into that. Their school has to, basically say, yes, you're good to go and all that. But as far as an intern, it's from A to Z. So I really want to bring someone in, show them the ropes. They'll go to inspections with me. They'll be on the grounds with me. They'll learn Yardi, our software that we use, and how to basically work with vendors, work with the tenants, learn payables. I mean, my goal is to show someone everything so that they can hopefully continue on with us is our goal, and that could potentially turn into employment one day. I mean, that's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just getting, what do they say, knees deep into understanding the business.
Yep. All right. So final question for you.
Yes, sir.
What impact would you like to have on either just the world in general or in just the real estate game? Like what impact, either you personally or just your company, what impact are you guys trying to have in real estate or just in life, I guess?
Yeah, no, good question. So for me, one of the things that, and I brought this up earlier, business why. So we'll go back and based on that is the personal why. And what I've come up with and just who I am and my personality is to create and maintain long-term relationships. That's kind of what I've been doing in my life. It's just how I am with friends. I mean, I still have friends that I've been talking with since high school, right? It's just maintaining those and that connection. That's just who I am. And turning that into the business is the same thing, is leaving the impact of having the landlords, property investors, property owners be able to know that they can trust us as a company, which is a huge thing in property management, and be able to, without letting go of control, letting go and knowing that your property is not only being taken care of and collecting rent and all the other main stuff, but is also being able to see where it can go. Meaning, you've got a property that, let's just say, is at a B plus or a B. We want to be able to help you take it and make it an A property as much as we can.
Yeah.
And so with that, there is, that's why I keep going to trust, transparency and trust, trusting us that we know what we're doing and we're going to take care of your property just as if you were continuing to take it on, if not even better, because we are, my whole thing, one of the reasons why I started this company is when you look at a lot of other property management companies, on the really, really big ones like Avalon Bay and like those ones, all their stuff is based on the tenants, right?
Yep.
Not so much on the landlords. Then you've got the other competitors of ours, which are strictly, hey, it's our clients, we'll do whatever they want, whatever they need, and they don't look at the tenants because the tenants are their tenants. There's a very fine line and that border that I really try and stay to. So my goal is to work with the landlords and the clients and make their property as best as it can be and what their bottom line is. And also to make sure that the tenants are having a great experience living in that property. So the ultimate goal is so they don't move. They stay there, they continue paying their rent increases and so on and so forth. And if they do end up leaving, let's go one step further. If they do end up leaving, that they are giving that property a great review. We as a management company, a great review, and the landlord that hasn't taken 3 months to respond to me to say, hey, we need to go and fix XYZ, so that new tenants can easily come in quickly and say, you know what, I want to rent from these guys compared to anyone else.
Wow. Yeah, you have a great business model set up. So thank you so much for being on here. My first person that I've ever interviewed.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully it didn't suck.
No, it was awesome. It was good. I appreciate it. They were great questions. And like I said, I mean, I look forward to seeing where this goes and hopefully having your viewers or listeners reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so where can the viewers find you? I know you have an Instagram. You said your email, but maybe just say it one
Yeah,
more
no,
time.
definitely. So the best way is through my email, which is Brad at Green Oak Property Management. And then also I have it here is you could give us a call as well. Our office number is 323-992-6130. And our website is greenoakpropertymanagement.com. So
Okay.
I do have an Instagram. We do have LinkedIn, and those are things that we are working on to, make better.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again for being on.
Take
See you.
care. Talk soon.